and risk it all, because it's all worth risking for your dreams. Anything that's holding you back or making you feel down about yourself or less than, or anything that's causing you stress is for sure worth risking. Peace and love, beautiful beings. My name is Layla Wind, Chosen Goddess. Welcome to my channel, Let Go My Ego, where we talk about all topics that have to do with letting go of the ego and letting our hearts and our souls lead the way. So today's topic is all about how I broke free from the 9-to-5 matrix over 10 years ago. Yes, I no longer work for anybody else. I've been working for myself for over 10 years. And I'm just so grateful because I no longer have to deal with a lot of the false illusions of the matrix, meaning in the corporations and in the jobs, or working with people who are disrespectful, or being in hostile work environments, or dealing with companies that are just lacking integrity, companies that are not in their hearts, companies that do not treat their employees as family and as a value, right? And so I want to talk to you all about the tips in order to thrive, right? To thrive and to have all of your needs met and more, and to just enjoy the process of learning to work for yourself, or if you're not meant to work for yourself, to work with others or with other companies that do have integrity, with other companies that do actually have a service or a product that you value, that you stand for, and also companies that value you. That's really, really, really important in the world that we live in, is that we are shifting out of working for and with people and with companies that do not have integrity, that do not respect us, that do not value us, that do not pay us enough. And also to get clear on what your purpose is and what you're supposed to be doing here in this world is so, so liberating. It's so freeing, and it's so, so fulfilling. So that's what we're going to talk about today. I believe about 7 to 8 tips. So we'll go over them one by one, and let's just get into it. So the first one is recognize that most companies don't really care about us, and they only care about profit. So I had to swallow this tough pill, so to speak, a long time ago. And to recognize that most employees or most workers, worker bees, right, are considered disposable, they're considered usable, and they're considered replaceable, right? And again, you're not really looked at as a valuable human being. And really, a lot of times we're looked at as objects, robots, worker bees, right? And a lot of these corporations and businesses, or if it's not a corporation or a business, maybe it could be a person or an individual that you're working with. But again, you have to notice, are you truly valued in these workspaces? And also notice that a lot of these workplaces and corporations and businesses, they have high turnovers. So that's something to pay attention to too, is that if there's not really any longevity at a place with most of the workers, it's usually because the company lacks some form of integrity, or the workers are not happy. The employees, I mean, workers, employees, same thing. They look at us as just workers, not as valuable assets to the company. And you are getting pennies to their dollar, right? And that's like a slave wage. A lot of times when you look at the profits that these companies make, and that they're what they're giving their workers and their employees, it's again pennies to the dollars. It's an insult, and you barely have enough to pay your own rent, to pay your own bills, and to actually have a living, right? To truly make a living, not just surviving, right? We're meant to thrive. And it's interesting they call it to make a living, because we should just be living, not just making a living. We should be living, and we should be living good, all of us. It doesn't matter if you work for somebody or work with somebody or you're the owner of a business. All of us should be living a life that feels good, where all of our needs are met. So when they say make a living, it's like, yeah, you're literally living to survive. You're trying to make money to live. And that is not how it's supposed to be in the world. That truly is just how the matrix works. That's how duality works, is struggle and strife. And we're definitely moving out of that. And also noticing, does the company have unethical business practices? Are they lacking integrity? And also noticing hostile work environments. Does the work environment have certain hierarchies in terms of, do they treat other people better than others? So yes, most corporations and jobs, certain businesses that are more well known, of course, they're going to have managers, they're going to have people who run the oversight. Everybody's going to have their different position. And that's not what I mean by hierarchies. What I'm talking about in terms of hierarchy is in terms of treating other people less than or better than others due to whatever biases, due to certain statuses in the company. And what, again, that creates a hostile work environment that is lacking integrity. And also noticing, does the company have a product or a service that is actually benefiting others, or is it kind of like a predatory company? Are they taking advantage of other people? Is it only for profit? Are they selling a product or a service that's actually not really beneficial? It's not something that you believe in. And you can kind of see some of the shady business practices that go on behind the scenes. These are something to pay attention to. So definitely just recognize that most businesses, most companies, they do not really care about you. They only care about profit. It's a tough pill to swallow, but you have to be radically honest with yourself, radically accountable, and radically honest with what you're seeing, what you're feeling, what you're noticing. A lot of times we can't sometimes articulate what we feel, but when we're honest with ourselves, we can see that no, this is not in alignment with how I want to live my life and how I want to feel. So pay attention to that. The second one is, I chose peace, I chose purpose, and self respect over money. This is huge. And mind you, I do have notes. I forgot to mention that in the beginning. For those that are new here, I always have notes so that way I can be thorough. I'm going to say that every time. So just bear with me if you see me looking down. That's what I'm looking at, is notes that I created, so that way I cover everything that I want to talk about in this video. So, yes, choosing purpose, choosing peace, and choosing self respect over money is huge. And you feel so much better about yourself when you do this. So, the way that I chose this purpose and this peace is I started putting myself out there in the world. I started networking with other people, and I started sharing my gifts and my interests with the world. And that's when I started to see the blessings unfold for me. That's when I started to see how the divine provided for me all of my resources, all the things that I needed, all the right people, through the networking, through the business connections, through making a living for myself, like truly making a living for myself through living my life, right? That's how you make a living, is to live your life on your own accord. And I did it scared, and I did it imperfect, because practice makes perfect. And one thing I learned from another YouTuber named Infinite Waters, Ralph Smart, shout out to you. He says, put in your 10,000 hours. What that means is that you got to put in that time, you got to put in that consistency. Do it scared, do it imperfect. The practice is what makes perfect, but also do it genuine, do it genuine. And that's what's going to keep you going. And so and even to this day, I mean, what is perfection? Of course, you're going to get better. I guess that's what people mean by the perfection, learning to master your craft, right? We can master our craft, but there's always opportunities to grow. And even where I'm at right now, with all of my gifts, I'm still growing. I'm still learning. After working for myself well over 10 years, getting out of the 9 to 5 matrix, I'm still learning, I'm still growing, I'm still shifting, but I'm never stopping, I'm never quitting. You know why? Because my heart is into this. I'm genuine about it, and this is what I love to do. And I advertised online. I went to networking events. I supported other people who were in similar lines of work that I'm doing. And that's still what I'm doing now. and I'm doing it my way. I'm doing it in a way that feels good without overly trying. I'm not trying anymore to try to get clients or trying anymore to, and it doesn't mean I don't want clients. And when I say trying, it doesn't mean I'm not putting myself out there. I'm not overexerting myself. I'm not trying to prove myself anymore. I'm just showing up and I'm sharing my gifts, and whoever wants to be a part or resonates with who I am and what I have to offer into the world, great. And whoever doesn't, that's great too. And so you just have to put yourself out there and also refine your gifts through practice, and also pivot when and where necessary. So, again, practice makes perfect. Continue to refine your gifts by utilizing your gifts, sharing your gifts, researching, studying, right? Being very studious. We're lifetime students, all of us, in whatever field that we're in or whatever we're doing in our life. And learn to be open to pivot, learn to make a shift and a radical change when and where necessary. And you'll know as it comes up too. That's just part of the process. And surrender to the journey rather than obsessing over the desired destination. And this is one of the reasons why most people, or a lot of people, when you're stepping into your power and you're stepping out of your comfort zone and you're starting to step into your purpose and put yourself out there, this is the reason why a lot of people quit. This is the reason why a lot of people give up, because their ego is so much in the way that they want the destination or their desired results now. They're like, I want it now. It has to happen now. Or they've been doing it for a few years, or they haven't gotten their ego success, right? Their egoic mind success that they want, so they quit. But no, the people who are thinking like that, I have to be honest, even if you did get the success, it wouldn't be sustainable. And the reason why is because you haven't learned to enjoy the moments. You haven't learned to remember what this is really all about in the first place, which is about being in service. So you have to recognize it's about soul evolution, right? It's about getting to know yourself through the process, through the journey. It's about shadow work as well that comes up. You're going to learn so much more about yourself, so much about how to do business. You're going to start seeing, those parts of yourself that you have hidden or you weren't really aware of, and the parts that are not really yourself, mainly because you're stepping out of your comfort zone, and you're going to have to meet your self sabotage. You're going to have to meet your programming. You're going to have to meet your subconscious mind, and you're going to have to meet your unconscious mind a lot. You're going to have to notice where you're holding a lot of trauma, where you're holding a lot of self sabotage, where you have a lot of low self worth, especially when you're stepping into spaces of power. Power meaning not power over others, power meaning like power, I know myself, power of I'm unapologetic in myself, power in like I'm powerful enough to share my gifts with the world, and whether who likes it or who doesn't like it, it doesn't matter as long as I see the vision and as long as I'm in my heart. And so you're going to face those fears and those illusions and those distortions as part of surrendering to the process, which is wonderful because then you get to really see who you really are. And this is required for you to be able to sustain the results you desire and more. That's going to be very required. So that's what I said earlier. In order for you to have sustainable and a solid foundation with whatever you are building, you have to be able to do the shadow work through the business. I mean, there's something so just transformative about stepping into your power and going into business for yourself or working for others who are more higher aligned rather than just typical corporations and businesses in this matrix of duality and illusions and distortions and hatred and fear. When you can step out and be in your power and be in your love and be in your light, then you'll actually be able to see more of who you are. And again, now you're setting yourself up for a solid foundation for your business to actually grow in fertile soil, meaning your foundation is nourished, it's loved, it's built on something of value, it's built on something of purpose, it's built on something that actually is not filled with a whole bunch of drama and toxicity and ill intentions, if you will, right? I'm saying that as a metaphor, the fertile soil. So that is number two, is to choose peace, purpose, and self-respect over money. This is huge, and you will feel so much better about yourself. And know that the money is going to come, but we'll talk about that in a minute. The next one is, if you don't want to work for yourself or you're unsure, work with businesses aligned with your gifts, your values, and your desires. So if you're not sure if you want to work for yourself, or you're pretty sure I don't want to work for myself, then work with businesses or with people who again align with your values and your desires and who have respect for you, right? Who really have a win-win mentality. That is huge. So again, businesses with integrity, people who treat their employees and their business partners with care and value like their family. That is one thing I know for a fact is really true as we're ascending as a human collective, and we're raising our consciousness, we're raising our vibration, we're loving ourselves more, we're saying no to things that are out of love and out of alignment. As we're moving into these higher ways of being, right? These more loving ways of being, we're no longer going to be tolerating working with people and businesses that don't treat us like family and the care that we deserve. I do know for a fact that as we get into these higher dimensions of consciousness, that truly any type of conscious collaboration, whether that's you working with others for their business or you having your own business, it's truly going to be a win-win for all. Everyone's going to want to be there. It's going to be aligned with their own soul's purpose and their own soul's gifts. And truly, you offer competitive pay. If you're a business owner or if you're working for others, they're offering competitive pay in wages where you can actually meet all your needs, and it feels like an even energy exchange for the work that you're doing, the work that you're giving, and what you have to offer. And also know that it also meets the business needs of the business, right? It meets their capacity. So they're not trying to shortchange you. They're doing what's actually in their budget, and they're actually doing what's fair. And they want to pay you the most, they want to give you the most bang for your buck. Really not bang for your buck because you're not paying them, but bang for your service, I should say, right? Bang for your work, because they want to show you that you're valued. I want to give you a beautiful energy exchange that feels good to you. And so you have a livable wage where again, you're not just paying bills, you're not just surviving, where you're actually thriving. Again, at that business's capacity. Because every business, there's smaller businesses, there's bigger ones, but they're still doing their best to make sure you're getting an energy exchange that feels good for you and that where you can live off of, right? Or at least feels good for the exchange or the service or whatever you're doing for that business. It feels good for both of you, right? Not only feels good, but it makes sense, right? It has to make sense. So know that it has to be a product or a service that you believe in and you can be passionate about. Because I truly believe that when you're working with a company or working with somebody, it has to be in alignment with what feels good to you. It's something you can be passionate about and excited about. So you're not feeling like, oh, I have to go to work today. You feel like, wow, it's work, but it feels good. This is something I'm excited about. I feel like I'm a part of a bigger picture where you're doing something that's bigger than all of us, right? That's what I'll say, where you're doing something that is really changing lives for the better and changing the trajectory of this world to come back to love and light. So that's really, really beautiful. So those are things that you can look out for in terms of stepping into your power and getting out of the 9 to 5 matrix. That's what you want to look for if you're going to be working with others or working for another business or corporation. The next one is, you have to know the divine will meet all of your needs when you follow your heart. And this is what's called miracle consciousness. I know it firsthand because all of my needs have been met. And for sure, my basic needs. I got a roof over my head. I have a nice vehicle. I get to travel. I have a fridge full of food. I'm doing great. And when I say great, no, I am not. I want to be clear. I am not financially rich yet, like at all. I'm not financially rich yet. However, all of my needs are met, and I still have more to live life and to do things how I want to do it. And that's the miracle consciousness. And things are getting better. They will get better. They always will get better when you continue to follow your heart, when you follow your heart. And so you must be willing to risk it all, right? For your dreams and your higher purpose. This takes a lot of divine trust and knowing, and that's why you have to continuously do the inner work to be self-aware, to be self-accountable, to be introspective, so that way you can step into this miracle consciousness and risk it all, because it's all worth risking for your dreams. Anything that's holding you back or making you feel down about yourself or less than, or anything that's causing you stress, is for sure worth risking. Risking being rejected or seemingly rejected. I really don't feel like nobody could ever really reject us, right? I feel like that's an illusion in itself too, is the idea of rejection. Because even if you don't really love yourself, nobody can really reject you, because the divine fully accepts you. And what does anybody's rejection matter anyway? Or they think they're rejecting you. What does it matter? It doesn't matter at all. Like, it's really laughable when you think about it, how silly all these human experiences are of rejection and jealousy and insecurity and competition. It's just a whole bunch of nonsense. We are fully accepted by the divine because we are here. So there's no such thing as rejection. Nobody can reject you. You can reject yourself, if you, meaning like you forgot yourself, you forgot your power, you forgot how worthy and beautiful and blissed and loved you are, but nobody can ever reject you. And so know that, and have consistency no matter what. Support yourself regardless, because you see your vision and values. Trust the process. I'm going to say that over and over again. Trust the process. As long as you see your vision, that's what matters. It doesn't matter what anybody else is, again, projecting on to you. It doesn't matter if other people support you or they don't support you, or if you feel alone. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And I'm going to tell you why it doesn't matter, because it's about your heart and soul's fulfillment. It's about you being true to yourself. And when you see your vision, stick to your vision, and that vision will unfold beautifully. And it's just, again, so liberating and so beautiful and so powerful. And know the right people and the right resources always come at the right moment. Aligned action matters as much as pure intention. So key. So, yes, we may have intentions, we may have desires. And I know a lot of us in the spiritual community, we're big on imagining things and feeling things and being visionaries. And all of that is beautiful. And I think it's also necessary. And you must do the work. You must take aligned action. You must put your good foot forward, so to speak, right? And you will become, again, excited about the work, rather than feeling like it's a burden or a chore or something that you have to do. You don't have to do anything, right? This is not about having to do anything. It's about I get to do it. It's about I want to do it. I'm excited to do it, right? You're excited because this is in alignment with your values, and you feel you are contributing, and you know you are contributing beautifully to the world, right? You are doing a divine service in your unique way, and you get to be yourself. That ultimately is a gift in itself, is just to be yourself, right? You get to face your fears, and you're right. This, you have a divine right to be seen and to be heard and to be visible. So that's what you're facing your fears in. And that's part of the shadow work too, is getting comfortable being uncomfortable. Even if you feel like you're not where you want to be, and you may not be where you want to be or need to be, that is okay. Show up, flaws and all. That came up in another reading I did in a different video. So show up, flaws and all, and show up in, again, unconditional love for yourself, unconditional grace. We're all going to be a little cringe here and there. I know I've been very cringe in plenty of my videos, or I may have said something where I'm like, oh, I could have said it this way, I could have said it better than this. You know, you self-reflect. That's why we self-reflect, right? And then we get to see the error of our ways, or we get to see our cadence, we get to see how we talk, our tone of voice, we get to see just everything, our eye contact, our confidence. You get to look at yourself and whatever it is, right? Whatever ways you're showing up in business, and you get to critique yourself, not criticize. You get to critique yourself with love and with grace and with kindness and accountability so that way you can improve. What a blessing. What a blessing, right? And again, so it's not about being perfect. So show up, face your fears, and be visible, flaws and all, because you have the right to be seen and heard exactly as you are. And when you follow your heart, you are in divine service. Therefore, success is inevitable. You can only be divinely blissed. Just keep going. And I like to say blissed over blessed, because when you just look at the etymology of words and where they come from, and no, we're not going to be less. We're going to be blissed, right? We're going to be happy, and that truly is the blessing, is to be happy, right? To truly be soul fulfilled. So that is, I believe, that's the fourth one. So, yes, the fourth one is know the divine will meet all of your needs and more when you follow your heart. That is miracle consciousness. But you'll never know until you try. And I'm telling you, if it can happen to me, it can happen to you. And again, I haven't worked for any company or anybody else for over 10 years. And I actually have time to work on myself, which is beautiful. And that's what we're going to segue into next. So the fifth one is recognize time is abundance and abundance is freedom. Time is abundance and abundance is freedom. Yes, yes, yes. So it's the freedom to do what you want when you want, to create your own schedule, and to live life on your own terms, and to have flexibility with life, and to have a true work life balance, right? And I think work really should is part of life, right? Like when people say work life balance, they kind of separate the two, but I feel like your work should be your life as well. And let me explain, because again, if it's your values and if it's your purpose, that is your life. That's part of your life. What's also part of your life is time to be with your family. If you have children, time to be with your children. I want to spend more time with my son. I love spending time with him. And I also want to spend time alone. And then I also want to spend time with my other loved ones. I want to spend time with my friends. I want to spend time exercising and eating good food and not scarfing down my food like an animal, you know, because I'm pushing for time, right? And this is the thing, time is truly an illusion. And those of us on a spiritual path, we've heard that, because you can't measure eternity. You know, you can't measure something that has no beginning and no end. In this human experience, yes, we are in these bodies for a finite amount of time, so to speak, right? However, our soul transition. But for the sake of time, so to speak, right? In the sake of the conversation, yeah, time doesn't exist. And when people say time is of the essence, the way I interpret that is time, or the essence, is really your life. The essence is really your moment to moment reality. The essence is your presence with life. And so in each and every moment, oh, what's coming to me right now, actually, this is coming through. It's like so interesting how these intuitive downloads come through, is that when we're rushing through life, right? It's almost impossible for us to be present, because we're always trying to get to the next stage. We're always trying to get to the next level. It's always about like, where am I going? Where am I getting to? What do I have to do? It's never about like, I can actually breathe here in this moment that I'm in. And so that's why it's so important that we have a balance in life where we can have time to do our work and our service and our business, right? Or working with other people in their business that is highly aligned. And then also having time to work on our body, our mind, our spirit, our emotional health. It truly is holistic. It's not just working on money. It's not just working on your mind. It's working on every aspect of you, because it really, all of the things that happen in our life have to do with us. It's really all about refining us. So actually, when we're working on our business, we're working on us. When we're working with our children and we're working with our loved ones, or our spouses, or our friends, we're working on ourselves by working with them. A lot of people are not aware of that. It all comes down to us. Everything is a reflection. And so that's why When you recognize that time is abundance and abundance is freedom, then you will do everything in your power to make sure that you are doing things that are in alignment with honoring your time, honoring your holistic health, right? Because we all have heard health is wealth, but it's holistic health that is wealth, all aspects of yourself. And that time to work with, especially to be with the divine, to work on your soul, to connect with your soul. That is truly what I know in my heart of hearts is the foundation of all human beings. If we really want to ascend in this life and we really want to thrive and we really want to be our best self, is to have that foundation with the divine, whatever you want to call it, goddess, God, Yeshua, Master Yeshua, Jesus. It doesn't matter. Allah, whatever your term is, there is the ultimate higher power, which is beyond any physical human being. And so having that divine direct connection is essential for our peace of mind and for actually any parts of our lives to thrive, especially a business. And that's what a lot of people are missing in the false matrix. Time is money, which is abundance and which is freedom. So when I look at money, I'm looking at abundance, meaning abundance in all areas of my life and my ability to be free to do what I want, when I want, as I want. Okay. And so let's close it out with the last one, which is this is huge, 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 huge. And this is why you have to do the spiritual work and do the inner work on yourself so we can all come back to the true loving beings that we really are. Is you have to have genuine and you got to be genuine and pure in your intentions and in your being. This means heart centered service and whatever you're selling, service, your influence, your products, yourself, right? When I say selling yourself, not selling your soul or anything or selling your body. I'm talking about the energy exchange for, again, the divine work that you're doing, the divine guidance and help and assistance that you're giving to other people. And it doesn't matter what you're doing, like in terms of what you decide you want to do. This can be, you can have divine service in sewing, you can have divine service in childcare, you can have divine service being a chef, you can have divine service being a gardener, a sound healer, a shaman, a preschool teacher, a mathematician, a scientist. It does not matter. A doctor, you can have divine service in any aspect of society because the possibilities are endless. They're limitless. You do it your way. And so this divine service, it causes harm to none. It causes harm to none. And again, that's something we have to recognize in the false matrix is that a lot of these corporations, a lot of these businesses, even individuals are causing harm to people for profit, selling legal drugs, right? Legal drugs, fentanyl or whatever, right? I'm just giving an example. These endless examples are selling products that could be harmful, and you find out later on they cause cancer or something, right? Or they're being recalled or whatever it is, right? That's the level of lack of integrity that we're getting out of. That's the level of distortion that we're not accepting anymore as we're moving into higher states of consciousness. Because again, true service causes harm to none. It's a win win for all. And you're changing lives for the better with pure intentions, with no distortion and no illusion. I don't care what anybody says. It's not, I don't want to hear anything about, oh, nobody's perfect. It's not about being perfect. It's about being highly aligned. It's about being true. It's about returning to nature. It's about returning to our heart and our souls and knowing who we are and removing anything and everything one by one. It's not going to happen overnight. One by one. That's what we're moving into, step by step, right? One step at a time, giving ourselves lots of grace. And again, the grace has to come with accountability and radical self awareness. And with that self awareness comes radical external awareness of others, of people. And that's a really liberating place to be in. But also for some, I understand, very scary because you may be stepping into territory that is unknown, and a lot of times it requires radical change in so much of our lives, right? And so I know I went off on a little bit of a tangent there, but it's all good. But you're not doing this, your work for any personal gain or money alone. Again, it's a win-win mindset. And then also, too, part of this genuinity and pure intentions is to have conscious collaborations, conscious, harmonious relationships, whether that's with business partners, whether that's with your employees or with the person that you're working for. I'm not going to say your boss. I don't like that type of terminology. The person that you're working with, the people that you're working with, conscious connections with those who are also doing the inner work, with those who can also be accountable, and those who also have self awareness and will want to maintain that purity. Again, the way we have solid foundations that can grow and the way we have that fertile soil, so to speak, is to have those conscious collaborations and also to be conscious and in harmony with ourselves and how we're operating and showing up in the world. So if we want to create legacy and we want to have, again, a solid foundation, and we want to have abundance, true abundance, not just money, but abundance of wisdom as well, right? That can be carried on into our descendants in passing. And if we want to truly have that, it's so important to have boundaries. It's so important to have discernment. And it's so important to again continue to do the inner work, continue to learn, to grow, to evolve, never be bitter, never hold on to anger, take the lessons learned. I'm telling you, there's so many things I've done in working with other people and just with my business, period, and working with others, and just recognizing that where things have not been aligned, or trying to figure out why isn't this working out, or why isn't this selling, or whatever it is, right? It's because a lot of times we're not being 100% honest with ourselves, or we may be working with the wrong people, or there may be something within ourselves that we really need to see. Because you have to understand, people are mirrors and reflections always, especially when we're working close to them, in terms of where we're doing really good within ourselves, or where we're higher aligned, or where we're self sabotaging, where we may be in the covert ego, where we may have, again, we need a lot more shadow work to do. There are so many different ways that we need to be able to look at ourselves to grow. And so being genuine and pure is where you start, having genuine and pure intentions. And then whatever unfolds from that, notice, is it aligned or not? I've turned down business collaborations, plenty lucrative business collaborations, multiple times in my life, because the people that were working there, I did not feel that inclusivity. I did not feel that respect. I could feel that some of them had ingenuous intentions. And no matter how much money, which would have been great money, okay? Great money, way more than what I'm making now. I'll tell you that much. Way more than what I'm making now is I could have went for that, but I didn't, because my soul is not for sale. I'm not for sale, and I have to be true to myself. Most people can't do that. I'm telling you, that's when the blessings come, is when you can truly be true to yourself, but you have to get your ego out the way and surrender to the process. That is key. So yes, be genuine and pure in your intentions and in your being. And that's part of the miracle consciousness as well. So yes, so I hope this video, and I know this video has definitely helped you all out so much. And I hope it inspired you to get out of the 9 to 5 matrix, to risk it all, right? To take a risk on your dreams and your desires, because you are worthy. Your dreams are worthy. Your dreams are divinely inherited. It's a divine inheritance. Your abundance is a divine inheritance that's going to come from you putting yourself out there in the ways that you're called. And that's different ways for all of us. Not everybody is meant. This is the thing. You don't have to have an Instagram to be successful. You don't have to have a YouTube to be successful. You don't. Don't let anybody even limit you that way. That's like limiting the divine. The divine, you can be successful right in your local community, right? It's however you're meant to show up, right? You don't have to have social media. You can have social media if you're called. Me, I have kind of, I'm not going to say a love hate with social media. It's not a love hate. It's more of, yeah, I don't really need to be on there a lot. I just don't. I don't want to. And so I honor that. I like real life connections. I like privacy. I don't want to have to do too much. Meaning, not that I'm doing less or self sabotaging, but I don't feel like I have to put something out when I don't feel called, is what I'm saying. It's perfectly fine for me to live my life as it is and to do things my way that feels right, but also just be very aware if it's coming from a place of limiting yourself and not being visible, or is it coming from a place of like true high alignment. So, yes, you deserve to shine. You need to shine your light and you need to give your brilliant, beautiful, bright gifts to the world. And just remember, nobody can do it like you. There may be a lot of people doing things that are similar to what you're doing, but no one can do it like you because only you can do it how you do it. And then the way you do things and the way you deliver things is going to resonate with different groups of people that other groups of people may not resonate with, right? So whoever's for you is for you. Whatever for you is for you. And again, only you can be you. So that's what makes us all so beautiful as human beings is we're all so different and we're all so unique. And again, you can have a million different people doing the same thing, but they're all doing it in different ways. They all have different modalities. They all have a different cadence. They all have a different personality, etc. Right? So, and they all may have a different understanding and perspective that others may not have an understanding and perspective of, right? And so that's what makes it so beautiful. And that's why you have to share your unique gifts and know that somebody is waiting to be a part of that and to receive them and with love and give you the energy exchange that you deserve. And the last thing I want to say to close out too is we have to stop as spiritual beings being afraid to receive money because you have to remember you're not doing it for the money, but in this human experience, we are currently still in a stage at this point that I'm making this video that we need money to survive. We need money to pay our bills, we need money to have a roof over our head, we need money to travel, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, if it's not your money, somebody's paying for it, right? So at the end of the day, don't be afraid to receive an energy exchange in the form of money for your unique gifts. And also, of course, we can always do things for free and in service. For example, me doing this YouTube video, I'm not getting paid for this. I have a smaller channel. I'm doing this for free because this is what I love to do. And some of my other offerings, such as my one-on-one readings, which I want to say I am doing as well. If you are called and you're wanting help specifically with the covert ego and shadow work, that's my specialty. I'll be more than happy to work with you. I do offer 33% off for my first time clients. And again, I would love to work with you. This is my soul's work. This is what I do. This is my lane. So I am an intuitive and it's a 90-minute reading or more, depending on what comes through. And yes, I would love to work with you. But those are my paid offerings where I'm asking for an energy exchange because it requires more energy out of me. And I deserve that. You deserve that. So don't feel embarrassed or shame for charging for your services and charging well. And what I will say, a lot of us, because a lot of us are givers, especially as pure hearted ones of us, have something of all tiers for different financial brackets of people. So people have different levels of financial wealth. So, and we want to be able to service everybody. I'm huge on that. So you're going to have different tiers, different packages for all types of people, right? And I will say this too, where there's a will, there's a way. If people want to work with you, it doesn't matter how much money they have. They're going to make a way to work with you because their soul is calling them to work with you or to purchase something from you. And there's going to be, again, it's an investment into themselves and it's going to be a win-win, a true win-win, not where they're feeling like, oh, I'm paying you and then I got nothing out of it. No, I don't believe in that. It's about an energy exchange, an equal energy exchange. So again, don't feel bad to charge for your services and also offer stuff for free or donation based, whatever you feel called when you feel called. So let's close it out. Thank you all again so much for watching this channel. Please like, please share, please subscribe if you feel called to. I'm so grateful that you all have shown up, whoever is showing up to this video, and keep going. Stay consistent. Not giving up shouldn't even be a thought in your head. You know, we all go through the motions, right? We all go through things that we consider failures, right? That we think is a failure, but they're really just lessons and opportunities for growth. We all go through that. But again, these are just part of growing, these are part of learning. That's why the more that you do the shadow work, the more that you love yourself, the more that you are pure and genuine and in your heart, nothing can stop you. Nothing, absolutely nothing. And so, yes, we got this. We're in this together. I'm so happy you're here. And again, I'm sending you all so, so much love. Until next time, I will talk to you all soon. Peace. Mwah.